Hey folks, Tito here with the Buckeye Blitz. Thanks so much for tuning in. Lots going on with Ohio State. We'll start with the men's basketball team. They are at Iowa tonight. I'm recording this here on a Wednesday. They have a 9 o'clock Eastern time tip. And we're at that point in the season where every game is a big deal for Ohio State. They are forever on the bubble. But I guess being on the bubble is better than not being on the bubble, which would mean that you're not in the tournament potentially. But they've got 4 games left here in the regular season. Tough game against Michigan State. They had a tough loss to Virginia since we've last talked. Big wins against a big win against USC. That was a nice one too. But Ohio State's men's basketball team right now, the Bleacher Report has them in their bracketology as the first team or second team out, I believe. The Athletic has them playing. The Athletic website has them as playing in one of the first 4 games. So Ohio State goes into this game tonight against Iowa. Iowa, by the way, according to bracketology, the number 7 seeds where I'm seeing them most of the time in that range. Iowa comes in with a 9-7 record in the Big Ten, 19-8 overall. Ohio State also 9-7 in the Big Ten. 17-10 overall. And what's the Michigan State game that they played this past weekend on Sunday, they led early and then fell behind. They led at the half, actually. Actually, they're playing pretty well. And then Michigan State opened up to, I think it was a 10 or 11-point lead for Ohio State, cut it to its final gap of 6. But that was Bruce Thornton doing everything. Bruce Thornton scored 32 points in the game, and he was the only option they really had. You had John Mobley still out. Devin Royal didn't play. Brandon Knoll is still out. So the Ohio State was very shorthanded in a very tough road environment. So, yes, it's a loss, but it's not like a capital L loss, if that makes sense. So I think Ohio State, with their 4 games left, they've got to win 2 of them. And tonight's 3 of them are gettable. Let's put it that way. 3 of the wins are gettable, I think, when they play at Iowa. They have to play at Penn State and host Indiana. After the Iowa game, though, they get to host Purdue, a top 10 team, or top 5 team, I think, now. Anyway, Purdue's a damn good team. That's going to be a tough one. A win over Purdue would certainly go a long way for Ohio State because it would give them a quad 1 win. I believe Northwestern was a quad 1 win at one point. Then it wasn't. Then it was. Then it wasn't. Wisconsin, Iowa would be a quad 1 win. Purdue certainly would. They got chances here. At Penn State and Indiana will not be. But I know going on the road and winning in the Big Ten in any scenario on the men's side is always a tough task. No different this week with Iowa, tonight with Iowa, before they have to play Purdue. And then, like I say, you got Penn State on the road and Indiana at home to close out the season before they get into the Big Ten tournament. Now, they will have a chance, even if they somehow go 1-3. Let's say they go 1-3 in these last 4 games. That would still put them at 500, 10-10 in the Big Ten, and have a chance to play their way in with a couple of wins in the Big Ten tournament. Much rather see them go 2-2 and get a win either tonight or against Purdue this weekend coming up. And then I'd feel better about their chances going in to the Big Ten tournament and maybe making the NCAA tournament. And this has been a great coaching job, in my opinion. The season overall, it's been great. Great's a strong word. A really good coaching job by Jake Diebler. I know they've still had some missteps down the stretch in some games where you could question some of the decisions he made, but with how much he's had, talent-wise, these teams are not as talented as previous Ohio State teams. They're just not. More talented than last year's team? Yes. More talented than last year's team overall, I would say. But they've had injuries this year. The Mobley thing. Mobley is such a huge part of this team. And, not having Devin Royal for a certain stretch, not having Knoll to lean on, guys like that. Those guys are important players for this team. Knoll doesn't fill up the stat sheet. He does eat up minutes, though, and can defend. So it's a bad time to have these injuries. We have not heard word yet on Mobley's availability tonight versus Iowa or Devin Royals. Knoll, I don't expect him to play. So I'd love to fill that void somewhere else. Tayson Chapman's been really good. He was, if you look at where he was at, how much time he missed, he comes back and plays on the bench kind of sparingly, and then all of a sudden they ramp up his minutes. And he had played a lot against Michigan State on Sunday, so we need to see more of that, especially if we have these guys that are still not playing. So another guy, Puff Johnson, who's now going to play through the rest of the regular season, how much for the entire season if the injunction, if the court ruling went that far. But nonetheless, he's another person who's very important to the success of this team. So this Iowa game, Is it a must-win? It's a need to win, not a must-win. But need to go 2-2 in these last 4 games. A loss here certainly puts their backs up against the wall because I don't anticipate a win over Purdue. Would be great. I don't anticipate it, though. And then they have Penn State on the road and then Iowa. So tonight would be a nice win for Ohio State on the road. Not going to be easy, but it certainly would boost Ohio State's chances. OSU women, they are 23-5. They host number 8 overall Michigan, who is 22-5 tonight over at the Schott. And Ohio State still is very firmly entrenched as like a 3 seed, I believe, in the latest ESPN bracketology. Top 4 seeds in each region get to host the first 2 rounds. But I did see an interesting wrinkle with the way the bracketologist had it. Charlie Cream, he had Ohio State as the 3 seed in Columbus, 3 seed overall, and they're playing Columbus. And a win there, they might play number 6 Mississippi. It was number 6. They could be playing there, which would be an interesting situation for Ohio State if they would get a second win there, or get a first win in their first round game, and then go and maybe play Cody McMahon in their second game, the former Buckeye star. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. But it would be a nice win for Ohio State tonight if they get Michigan at the Schott. Kevin McGuff has done a fantastic job with Ohio State this year. Maybe one of his best coaching jobs since he's been here. I know he's picked up win number 500 recently, which was nice. He got to do it against Washington on the road, where he coached for a couple years before coming to Ohio State. So we'll keep an eye on that one tonight. But Ohio State women, Michigan tonight at the Schott, 23-5 Ohio State against number 8, 22-5 Michigan. We'll close out with some Ohio State football news because we always do. And nothing official has been announced yet, which is interesting. Ohio State has not come out and made an official announcement, but Ross Bjork has made public comments that Matt Patricia is back and he's signed a new contract. Matt Patricia has said he's back. He had a social media post where he said, yeah, I'm back. I'm happy. I'm ready to go. So all signs point to Patricia being back with Ohio State. Might be the highest paid coordinator in college football. Might be the highest paid assistant ever at Ohio State. Patricia, though, a huge deal for this team. They lost a lot of talent. Now, granted, last year they lost a lot of talent on the defensive side as well, and Patricia did a great job with them throughout the season. Same thing this year. Got to do it a second year in a row now with all the talent they're losing the NFL. You're losing Sonny Styles, you're losing obviously Caleb Downs. You got a bunch of guys you are losing. Defensive linemen you're losing. Davis Igbinosin, you're losing him as well. Lots of talent, lots of guys that played a lot of snaps you got to replace. But Matt Patricia has done it once already. We'll see if he can do it again. Folks, August, we'll get here very soon. We'll get to the start of the season here. Spring football starting up April 18th, the spring game here for Ohio State. So spring football starting up very, very shortly. The practices and whatnot culminating with that April 18th spring game at Ohio State. All right, folks, that's it for me. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the Buckeye Blitz. Follow me on Twitter. I'm Tito, Jeff Thitoff. Follow me at ThitHappens on Twitter. We'll talk again soon, folks. Year-round stuff with Ohio State sports going on.